Last night's guests have left behind their masks, their money bags, and dead bottles of wine. Now the streets are so quiet on this rainy night in September, as the train slowly pulls away into the misty downpour. Ah, goodbye, Susie. This town will soon forget you. Goodbye, Susie. This town will soon forget you. Goodbye, Susie. This town will soon forget you. Last year's trophies reflect the sun as the nurse climbs the stairs to cure the aftermath of fun. Now the tide is coming in on this windswept day in November. On the beach walks a girl in blue into the misty sea spray. Ah, goodbye, Susie. This town will soon forget you. Goodbye, Susie. This town will soon forget you. Goodbye, Susie. This town will soon forget you. 'Cause in the morning all the shops will be open, and by the evening all the bars will be full. And after midnight, all the streets will be reeking of the drink that drowns the sorrow, and life will still go on into tomorrow. Last week's story lies on the ground. A girl in blue discovered drowned on Susie James. Her father wealthy, her mother gone. On this snowy day in December, down the street come relations, all trying to cry their tears. Ah, goodbye, Susie. This town will soon forget you. Goodbye, Susie. This town will soon forget you. Goodbye, Susie. This town will soon forget you.
Singer-songwriter John Howard and Goodbye Susie. And the first track I ever played of John's would have been on Radio Luxembourg in the 70s and Family Man. And you probably don't want to be reminded it was that far back, do you, John?
It's a long time ago, nearly 50 years. I can't believe it.
And yes, and you actually did an album 50 years later, didn't you, or something?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, I wrote a song called These 50 Years, which is like looking back on, on the old times and my life and everything, and the career and the ups and the downs and the comebacks,
Yeah. You still, though, don't you, enjoy live performing apart from recording? I
do. I mean, live performing is something that always came naturally to me. I used to play at the in the folk clubs in the early 70s and Bolton's Octagon Theatre and universities. And I found I not only enjoyed singing and playing to people, I enjoyed chatting to them on stage. And that's something I still do. I always sort of give a little running commentary on when the song was written and what album it was on and the stories behind it. People seem to enjoy that, I think, as much as listening to the song sometimes.
I mean, I'm right in saying, aren't I, that nearly everything you've recorded, you've written yourself. I mean, you have taken your cap off to other songwriters, haven't you, along the way? But mainly it's your own stuff, yeah?
Yes, it is. I mean, what I tend to do now is if I record an album, it usually is all my own songs. I think basically always all my own songs. Obviously, compilations are slightly different. They're a mixture of things I've done over the years, and what I release every so often is a 4 or 5 track EP of my favourite songs by my favourite songwriters, like Randy Newman and Joni Mitchell and people like that.
I've got to ask you, because when I spoke to Randy Newman, he was talking about going and locking himself away in his office as though he was going to work, as though he was actually going to do a job. And that is how he wrote a song. He sat down and he wrote that way. And Gene Pitney told me the same thing. Is this how you do it? Or do melodies and lyrics come to you? Or do you actually say, it's Tuesday, I'm going to write a song? I mean, I don't see how someone can do that. But anyway, yeah, go on.
I tend to. What happens to me is I'll write, say, an album's worth of songs over quite a long period, and then I have a sort of like a mental break. It's like the door is shut and sort of nothing comes to me, and then I find lyrics start to come into my head, tunes, ideas, and I write them all down. I've bits of scraps of paper all over the house and put them in my pocket and keep them here and there and everywhere.
It's a way of doing it, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's less structured, but that's probably a better way of writing, is it?
Yeah, I find that, and then finally, what I'll do is I'll take all those bits of paper into the studio, put them on the piano, have a look at them, see what I can construct from there, and start writing, and then putting demos down, listening back to the demos, deciding which works, which doesn't. And then over a period of time, arrangements start coming in, into my head, string arrangements and backing and this and the other. Because as you know, I record everything myself. I write all the songs and sing and arrange them and produce them in my little studio, in my little courtyard here in Spain. And it's very organic the way I tend to work. As I say, and then when I've done all that, and the album's finished, and I send it off to the guy who masters my albums, Ian Button, and then the record company, Cool Cat Music, in America, then I literally seem to close down, not even voluntarily, it just sort of happens. It's like the creative process is slightly exhausted, and then I wait for the next time. Tell us about the new album. The new album, Look, the unknown story of Danielle Dubois, who's a fictional character.
Right.
She's based on a very good friend of mine, April Ashley, who was the first transgender person in the early 60s in Britain.
Right.
She transitioned into April Ashley in 61, I think.
Yes.
And I used to play in her restaurant in the mid-70s.
Wow.
She had a restaurant called April and Desmond. Mm-hmm. And I got to know her very well, and she died in October, November. But right up to her death, we were on the phone, and she had a holiday home in Marbella. So we would have natters about that. I never got to see her again. I never visited her in Marbella. I wish I had now. But we had lots of happy memories when we'd talk. And she was an amazing lady. She was a real pioneer and became an icon for transgender gay communities all over the world. And Danielle, who was Daniel Wood, the pop star in My Little Story,
right.
Transitioned into Danielle Dubois in 1961 and became this figure in Paris. She moved to Paris, has a fantastic life in Paris, but very occasionally thinks back to the days of being a bullied teenager in the UK. So it is a fictional story, but there is a definite storyline going right from the start to the end, and it's the first time I've done this. I've written story songs before, like Goodbye Susie.
Yes, yeah.
It's a little story within and Family Man. They're little scenarios within a song, but I've never actually done it on a whole album before, and I've always wanted to do it. And the inspiration started coming to me, and so I went with it.
Well, I've been playing your music for a lot of years, haven't I? A lot of years. And I really love this album. Thank you for talking to us, John. People should go to the... Can you give us the website?
My website is www.kidinabigworld.co.uk.
Right.
And I'm also on Facebook, facebook.com/John Howard Singer-Songwriter.
So they can find you. Thank you for being with us today. Can you introduce this track for us?
Yes, this is Good Day Daniel. Good Day Daniel. And this is basically about when Daniel's become a huge pop star. A film has been about to be made about his life just before he moves to Paris and becomes Daniel. So basically this is the story of Daniel transitioning into Danielle, and it's called Good Day Daniel.
This morning's new arrivals have brought their trinket trifles, sipping ice-cold Perrier. Now the boulevard is full of gleaming cars on this sunny springtime day. As the train arrives at the shimmering station, the driver shields his face. Good day, Daniel. Impressions made that last forever. Good day, Daniel. Impressions made that last forever. Good day, Daniel. Impressions made that last forever. This quarter's lost survivors wait for the healthcare drivers to cure their morning crash malaise. Now the boats are moored at the harbor master's door that's flaking in a hot midday. In a waiting room sits a boy whose dreams of fortune light the way. Good day, Daniel. Impressions made that last forever. Good day, Daniel. Impressions made that last forever. Good day, Daniel. Impressions made that last forever. In the early hours of the weekend, claims are made by drunken rivals, and the alleyways are full of booze and tales. As the dawn lights up the untruths, feet are dragged beneath the weight of wishes, dumped into the cells of overcrowded jails. This year's biggest headline steps out and greets the sunshine. The youngest millionaires in town. Now the avenues are lined with marching bands and papa. As the plane takes off in a cloudless sky, there's a movie to be made. Good day, Daniel. Impressions made that last forever. Good day, Daniel. Impressions made that last forever. Good day, Daniel. Impressions made that last forever. Forever and ever. Bonjour, mademoiselle. Bonjour, Daniel. Les impressions ont duré pour toujours. Pour toujours. Pour toujours. Toujours, Daniel.
Talking to John Howard on the show, Morning Mix, Beverley FM. Second of his tracks, Good Day Daniel. Kid in the Big World is his website.